welcome back to our Doodle Empires series. Today we're on episode 4, I think. Yeah, 4 or 5. Episode 4. So, as you can see, the map is wildly different. So let's go over the great powers, because there are several. So, the great powers of the world are different, that's for sure. As you can see, Turkey has gone through a change. They've expanded into eastern Anatolia, but they lost almost all of Greece. The Cyprians are back. They've taken over much of southeastern Anatolia, Cyprus, nearly all of North Africa, but that are not in Yemen or anything. The Mesopotamians, Iran 6 is now the Iran 7 again, because the Turks just rejoined it. And at this point, the major powers are the Cyprians or the Neo-Cyprians, the Second Yemeni Republic, and then the Iran 7, which Cyprus is not a part of. Alright, let's get them back to their iconic color. Something like this. So let's see who does their first marching. Caspia will be the first to do something. They could form a new nation, but at this point, the world's in so much turmoil that they decide, you know what, it's better not to do that. The joint colony of southern Iran will unionize. They will unionize with East Inner Iran. They will then start moving out and getting a new leader. They decide to elect someone different. However, this move brings upon instability, because a lot of people really like the old leader. As a result, East Inner Iran will rise up again. I'll get an even larger split. At this point, a lot of people really do not like the leader. So in an attempt to Alright, the Iranians will go on an expansion because they need to at this point. The people who live in this colony do not like the new leader at all. They much prefer the old leader. But so extra troops are being deployed, and at this point they are really starting to regret their decision, the council. So just to be safe, they will build a castle right here. This is supposed to be the weighty Iran checkpoint. And these checkpoints are in place to ensure that if an Iranian civil war happens, or like Kuwait gets invaded, the joint Iran colony can send their forces who are stationed there. Because for context, so basically Kuwait provides much of the funding for this area of Iran. Qataris provide funding for all of this area, and the rest of this is funded by the Yemenis. They're like a minor member. They're like not. They don't like contribute, but not mostly because they don't have a land border. The Qataris have like a naval border. These guys control this. That's why they were added, and Caspia and Caucasia had a ton of money, so that's why they're in there. And Turkey joined because they wanted the prestige. Second Yemeni Republic will build yet another castle. It will be right here in order to protect the northern Red Sea. It'll be right here. As you can see, they are just making sure the Red Sea is not going to be attacked. The Red Sea is heavily fortified. You can tell there's like 20 fortresses. The Ethiopians will get a large expand. They will annex most of the Turkish colony in Ethiopia. At this point, this colony has not been in Turkish control for a while. So the Turkish government doesn't really mind. So the age of division is over, so hopefully nations are more stable. They'll then get a new leader. The Qatari occupied Oman will have a small extent. I'll take over this little area. March up here. And basically their plan is to get a land border. Central Mesopotamia will have a small expanse. It will take over this riverbank. They will then start pushing. Kuwait will have a large expanse. Kuwait always has been the generally peaceful power, so they're mostly just going to you know, just expand. They are, however, going to build. They're going to finally establish a land border with their friends in Qatar, because they always had a naval border. They've never had a land border. Yeah, this makes it easier to differentiate these two. Cypriotia in Iran is now back to being in Iran's hands. Like the Cypriotian hands. It will get a small split, but the Cypriotian military puts it down before anything can happen. So, that was anticlimactic. They will then unite. They will unite to someone. The question is who? The Second Omani Republic will refuse to unite with them. Southern Egypt does not want to unite with them. So as a result, they will unite with Cypriotia and Iran. The age of conflict starts. They will get a land border, and they will then start to invade the Yemanis. They have a small incursion. They will then slam into southern Egypt. Second Yemeni Republic will respond. They will storm this area. At this point, war has sparked out. So at this point, the members of the Iran 6, or in this case the Iran 7, all meet up in the Caucasian capital, and they all debate whether or not to join the war against Cypriotia. The vote is held, and it has to be 4 yeses. Yemen votes yes, Second Yemeni Republic votes yes, the Qatar UAE votes yes, the Central Mesopotamians vote yes, Kuwait votes yes, Caucasia and Caspia vote yes, and Istanbul votes yes. It's a unanimous vote. They decide to go to war. So as a result, the war of the Second Coalition will start against the Cypriotans. So at this point, the Second Great War has started. Hold on. Okay, we are back. So what was I doing? Oh right, a Great Coalition. Alright. So the Great Coalition starts. And this coalition is, well, it's gonna be brutal. That's the point I'm making. This coalition will, with no hesitation, slam into Cypriotia. This is what's going to be a disaster. The North African Republic joins the coalition. After all, they lost all their Egyptian land to the Cypriotans, so they will join. So now, Cypriotans are in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 front war. So Cypriotia is gonna just be knocked out on all sides. Of all these nations, the most powerful is probably Yemen. Meanwhile, the nations who are part of the Iran 7 will pull their military assets up together, and they will prepare to obliterate the Iranian colony Cypriotia has. So as a result, and then additionally, all the Ethiopian countries also decide to join the coalition as well. But in exchange, the Yemenis agree to cede this area to Ethiopia. So the Sultanate of Turkey will start to move. A large expand will happen, so his army will start to march. He will land in Cyprus and be able to take nearly the entire island. Then Central Mesopotamia will start moving, and they will get a medium expand. They will slam into this river and cutting everyone off. Atlantis nation will heavily fortify their militaries. Okay. So now, since the Mesopotamians will make a move, the Yamanis will then start to march, and they will unionize. The Yamani government will unionize with Red Oman. Then they will then start marching on. They'll get a small expand, and their troops will start marching. They march up, and up, and up. At this point, it's not looking good for Cyprus. The North Africans will get a small expand. They're probably the weakest member, but they're still going to make gains, because at this point, I mean, they're crippled. Then the Caucasian army, who at this point, who has a surprisingly powerful army, will make a fort right here. At this point, the Caucasians are basically impossible to invade. The Cyprians aren't. The Cyprians know they can never cross this mountain. Even if they do, all their forts are going to make it impossible. Because as you can see, all their flanks, as you can see, are covered by this, except for this area, which just could be a problem for them. So as a result, they deploy extra troops here, just to be safe. Then the Caucasian army will make a move. It will unite. And they will unite with Caspia, the nation they founded. Now, the stronger Caucasia will get a large expand. At this point, the war starts. They will rapidly secure this lake area. They will then start marching down. Neo-Cyprians are starting to lose. So then Neo-Cypriots will begin to march. The question is where? They decide to do a risky endeavor. They will secure parts of Cyprus. However, the Turks get a medium expands. And so the Cypriot army was not expecting the Turks to make this much gains. So then, they will successfully seize Syria. They would then send troops down here, but, however, their invasion fails. So the Cypriot military was prepared just to be safe. So as a result, the Turkish attempt to seize their capital has failed. However, they do land here and will start securing fortresses. Central Mesopotamia will begin to move. They will get a small expand. They will be successful in seizing part of this fort. Caucasian troops will then begin moving. They'll get a small expand. And they will use this to their advantage. They will secure much of this region. They will take the rest of this river to make sure the Caucasians, not the Caucasians, the Cyprians can't do anything with it. North Africans will move as well. And at this point, it's not looking good. The Yemeni will be nearly successful in unifying their supply lines here. They are just barely unsuccessful, and this move will temporarily halt their offensive. So the Cyprians will make a move. They will diverge their origin. They will then get a medium expand. They will use this to resecure their forts. They will then land in Cyprus and cut it off. However, Turkish troops being prepared for this will slam them back. They will then retake this fort, reland in Syria, and take this fort, cutting off Cypriotia into two. They'll take this river, the riverbed, the river mouth, and this will practically doom Cypriotian odds in the north. At this point, the only fort they have left is the Anatolian one, and the Cyprians are retreating. They will spearhead and secure this fort. They will take the southern Turkish court. They'll take the southern Turkish coast to make resupplying impossible, and then their forces will decide to do a risky landing. Troops from these two forts will do a daring endeavor. They will land in this city, cutting off all access to the Nile mouth. They will then start moving downward, and then they will nearly cut off Cyprian army. The The Yamanis will then succeed fully, cutting off this area. At this point, they will then take the Nile Mouth Fortress. The North Africans will move, or the Libyans, I should say. They will take more lands. They will take Tripoli. So now, now the Cyprians have lost their Tripoli fort. Their port. Yeah, port. The Central Mesopotamians will start moving, and we'll get a medium expand. They will use this to great effect. And then the Caucasians will also begin moving. They will get a large expand. They will take all this lake. They'll take this river. They will just, at this point, Cypresian Iran, most of the Cypresian North area is dead. They can't do anything. So the Cypresians are cut off. They'll get a medium expand, and using this, they will attempt to land in Cyprus again. They will secure one fortress. They will secure the west Cyprus fort, but they fail. A new leader, who is a conqueror, replaces the Sultan of Turkey, and now his army is even stronger. He will take even more, and he will officially be crowned as Sultan Omar I. Northern Egypt is at this point a micro-state, will be taken over. So at this point, the Cypriots will desperately try to connect their troops. They are successful, but these supplies don't really mean much. Being pushed on all fronts, they will land over here. They'll take the capital, at least part of it. They will start sieging it. A new leader replaces Omar. He was the main general, and he got killed during the siege of Nicasia. So he is replaced by Sultan Amanakit. He will adopt a religion, that being Buddhism. He'll get a small expand. Central Mesopotamians will move. They will get a large expand. At this point, Cypriots are the victor, are declining by the day. If you thought the Cypriots were going to win this, a literal 5-front war, and you are quite wrong. At this point, Cypriots have been reduced heavily. They've lost nearly all of Iran. They've lost nearly all their Turkic holdings. They've lost most of their forts. They barely have a supply line. They're being pressured. However, they refuse to surrender because they know that if they don't, then they will have nothing left. So they continue to fight on. Libya will build a castle right here. This is known as Fort Tyranny. Named after that because the tyrannical rule of the current emperor of the Cypriots. So, the Turkish army, led by Sultan Samari, will start to move as well. They will get a medium expand, they will start marching, and they will get dangerously close to the capital, but they will be held off. The Yamani troops then succeed in cutting off the Cypriotian army, encircling one regiment. They will then secure the Nile River entrances. They will start a move on the Sinai area. They will secure some of the forts they've founded. They will continue to push. They will take the south. After Mesopotamia will move. We'll get a small expand. They will rapidly get to this area. Caucasian army will also move out. will get a medium expand. They will seize what remains of the Iranian colony, and then they will tell their troops to start to make a land connection with the Turks. Ultimately, this fails. However, they are getting closer. Cyprians will then start to move. Army groups in the north, and then their leader is replaced. He ends up getting killed by a Yemeni sniper. He was in the city. Actually, got killed by a Turkish special forces sniper. He was stationed around here. They got him. As a result, a new leader replaced them. They build a new castle. Now the city is getting even more fortified. They're worried. They will build even more castles. At this point, Suleiman City is going to be nearly impossible to take. The Turks will, at heavy costs, will seize the city. They will get a medium expand. They will retake the city and surround the Turkish regiment. The Turks will successfully reoccupy the city. The Cyprian army will slam into it and will retake it. However, what remains of their forces are weakened. They will desperately attempt to land in Cyprus. This will result to no avail, as the Turks will make a fort right here. And at this point, I mean, Cyprians can't even make any gains. Turks will use their newly founded fort as a hub to successfully stomp any and all remaining forces of the enemy. They would then connect their troops, eliminating any remaining Cyprians in the area. They would then Central Mesopotamians will start to move. Mesopotamians will nearly cut off this regiment. Then the Yemeni army will move out, as well as the Libyans. The Libyans will found their religion, which they will call Libyan Islam. They will have a new leader named Ali. The Yemanis will expand. They will dramatically gain, and they will then start moving into central Sinai. They will get close to seizing the fort. They will, and then they will then head to the northern fort. At this point, the Cyprian army is at this point on the retreat. In Sinai, nothing is stopping the Yemeni forces. They would then formally regain the Sinai for the first time in a while. The Libyans will get a large expand. They will start marching along the African desert, successfully reaching this vital lake used to supply the Cyprian army, what remains of them at least in this region. They will then start pushing into some desert area. Cyprians will get small expands. They will slam the Turks back a substantial amount, but at the end of the day, they're wasting valuable manpower. The Turkish Sultanate will build a castle. This castle was designed to defend the city. Turkish troops will be stopped at the gates of the city. However, they will seize part of the lake that supplies Sully Main City's water. As a result, the city's siege is starting. The Yamani army is tasked with cutting off the Cypressian force, which they will succeed in. Their additional goal is to seize all this lake, which they will be nearly successful in. And at this point, Cypressians can no longer use this lake, and they are starting to be starved out. But meanwhile, the remains of the Cypressians are crippled. They have lost nearly all their land. They've been kicked out of Iran. They've been kicked out of the Sinai. Well, only a few men are fighting on in North Africa, but it's not going to do anything. Libyans will be uniting with no one. Either division will start. The Kuwaitis will start moving. They will secure this lake. Their plans are to just, get there. They want to make an empire. They want to make their lands bigger. So now, the Kuwaitis are larger. In fact, they are now a much substantially larger state than they once were. The joint colony of Iran is, although not getting nearly as much money as they used to be right now, because they're busy fighting in a war. The Yemen, at this point, they might as well be split. However, this will be unsuccessful. They will get immediate expand. The armies will successfully start to siege the south of the city. Central Mesopotamian forces will move. They will be successful in cutting off this area. The Turkish government will decide to mop up any remaining cells before starting the main siege of the city. Then the Yamani army will finally seize the city, the Sully Main City, ending the war permanently. The Cypressian Empire is fully dead in its entirety. They do have a few small provinces left, which I will highlight. The Caucasian army will mop up what remains. One of the key parts of the agreement was that Cyprus would not be allowed to exist at all. The Turks will settle their border disputes with the Greeks while this is happening. So now is the end of the line for the Neo-Cyprians. The war is over. The Great War of the Second Coalition is over. The Cyprians are gone, reduced to nothing. And so now, we will explore the world powers. This is the map before we get into the next episode of the series. I hope you all enjoyed. This is the end of this, probably the end of the Cyprian era. Maybe the Cyprians will rise again, maybe not. No one knows. At the end of the day, the Great Coalition of the Iran 7, Yemen, the Ethiopians, the North Africans, they have done it. Cyprians have been wiped off the map for the second and hopefully final time. That being said,